Joining us now is the 39th President of the United States, President Jimmy Carter. Mr. President, welcome to the Skeptics Guide.
It's a pleasure.
So we were actually put in, this interview was set up by your grandson, Josh Carter, who's a fine young man. You wanted us to give you the opportunity to set the record straight regarding your eyewitness encounter with a UFO back in 1969. Can you first just start by telling us about what you saw?
Well, back in those days, I was the district governor of 56 Lions clubs. And I had to visit each one of those clubs during my year of service. And I was in a small South Georgia town one night outside the schoolhouse waiting to eat supper and to talk to them. And all of us, there were 26 men, I believe, if I remember right, all of us saw a very bright light in the western sky. And it was bright enough to attract our attention, much brighter than a star. And it got closer and closer, and then it seemed to stop in its proximity to us. And then the color of it changed from white to blue to red. And it stayed there for a while. All of us were aghast at what we were seeing, couldn't figure it out. And then the light, that's all we could see, not a solid object, the light then slowly disappeared back into the direction from which it came. So I'm a scientist by training, and I have never thought there were extraterrestrial beings on a ship from outer space or anything, but it was an unidentified flying object. It was obviously unidentified. It was flying, and it was an object. Mm-hmm. And so that's the limit of my experience with so-called UFOs.
And even in retrospect now, do you have any ideas of what you think that was? What do you think you saw?
I don't really know. A very large military base, Fort Benning Army base, where they train paratroopers and do various kinds of military experiments, are in the general direction from which the light came. And most of us men, most of us were farmers or small businessmen who ordinarily are members of a Lions Club, just surmised that it might be some kind of a device that was being tested or something like that. We never heard anything.
Yeah. Like
a helicopter motor. If we had heard the engine, we would just have surmised it was a helicopter or something. But we never heard anything. It was a silence there. So I never have been able to assess, even all the years that have passed, exactly what it might have been.
And have you ever heard the speculation, and what do you think about the idea that perhaps it was the planet Venus, which, it sometimes may have a halo around it?
No, it was much, no. No, we're, all of us are outdoorsmen who were there. We know what Venus looks like. We know what Mars looks like. We can distinguish between Saturn and so forth. Some of us even have like I do, have amateur telescopes, small telescopes. So we were thoroughly familiar with Venus as it changes from a morning to an evening star. It was not Venus.
Okay, you're confident about that.
Oh, yes.
Evan, you had a question?
Yes, I do. President Carter, in 1973, by request, you filled out an eyewitness report for a UFO group called the International UFO Bureau Incorporated.
Yes.
Can you tell us why you did that or felt need to do that?
Why I did it? I was, since 1973, I was governor then of Georgia, and maybe they requested it, or maybe one of my interested sons might have asked that I do it for them. I don't know. I don't remember that.
Right, so it was just at request, and you didn't really think much about it at the time.
No, and I don't remember why I did it, but I would presume it was one of my descendants, if not grandson. I didn't have grandsons in that order, but I had three sons who were teenagers.
And part of the reason why we were interested in this interview is because of all of these events, you occupy now a place in UFO folklore. And one of the aspects of this,
it's not a place that I have sought.
Right,
of course.
It's thrust upon you, like many things. And this part of the folklore now is that prior to becoming president, you promised to get to the bottom of the government's involvement with UFOs and aliens and spacecraft. So this is another thing where I think there's still a tremendous number of rumors about this. There's a lot of conspiracy theories about there. When you were president, did you pursue the government's knowledge of UFOs? And if so, how far did you get with that?
Well, I can't really respond to that. There were a lot of things going on within the federal government, not that was a direct order from me. The only strange and inexplicable event that has been discussed publicly is that one time we had a small plane go down somewhere in Africa, and we needed very much to find out where that plane had crashed. And we were not able to find it by surveillance from our satellites. Mm-hmm. So the director of the CIA, he was also director of all the intelligence agencies, heard about a woman in California that was a medium or something. I don't know the title for. And he contacted her, and she gave him the latitude and longitude of the plane's whereabouts. And the next time one of our space satellites went over that area, we located the plane where she said it was. Now, that's the only time that I have ever experienced something that was inexplicable while I was president.
Right.
But I have never had any thought, knowing the vast distances involved in space, that the United States was visited by creatures, intelligent creatures from other, I would say, other bodies in space.
Mm-hmm. You don't think we're being visited by aliens right now?
No, I don't.
And again, just to be clear,
yes,
to your knowledge, the government is not hiding secret information about aliens or spacecrafts or visitations.
So far as I know, they're not hiding information. There might be reports from different sources. I would say I put in ahead of reports, unconfirmed reports from different sources, who claim that they have witnessed, extraterritorial visits, mm-hmm. and I presume that there is an agency in the federal government that would accept those reports and then file them somewhere, and it may be that there are some reports that haven't been made public. I would presume that there are, to prevent violation of confidences or to prevent embarrassment of people who might have made a ridiculous report. Mm-hmm. But so I can't say that there are not reports that haven't been revealed, but I think I can assure you're knowledgeable enough to know that there wouldn't be any substantiated reports of extraterritorial visitors that haven't been reported.
President Carter, in my research, I've come across rumors in the UFO community that you asked then CIA Director George H.W. Bush for access to the CIA UFO files, and he refused. Is there any truth to this?
No.
Okay, so that's just completely.
I'm sorry?
That's just a completely fabricated rumor in the UFO community.
That's correct.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. I don't say that that's a rumor from the UFO community because I've never heard it before.
Yeah.
But it's not true.
Good. That's what we wanted to hear from the source itself. So
no, it's not true. But I don't claim that the UFO community is promulgating such a story because I have not heard it.
Well, that's what. Yeah, we're verifying that. I mean, they're on the internet. There's many websites in which they make that very specific claim. So we're just trying to get you to.
That's not true.
Excellent. The other topic that I was hoping we could talk to you briefly about today is your stance on evolution and creationism, particularly because of the state that you come from. Over the last 20 or so years, on several occasions, the state of Georgia has made moves to either include teaching of creationism in public schools or recently removed the teaching of evolution or reference to the word evolution from the Georgia State science standards.
Well, when that effort was being made by the state school superintendent, I wrote her a letter, which I made public, condemning that removal of the word evolution from the textbooks, and also I've been a persistent critic of any effort to insert religious teachings into the science curricula.
That's right. And in that letter you wrote, if I can quote you very briefly, there can be no incompatibility between Christian faith and proven facts concerning geology, biology, and astronomy. Can you tell us exactly what you meant by that?
No, I would rather refer you to a book that I've written called Our Endangered Values, and I spent several pages in that book answering that question, and I don't really care to get involved in it now.
Okay, but
I gave my best approach, with very careful composition, in one of the chapters in the book, and it's available in the library or probably online or something.
Great.
It's Our Endangered Values.
But it's safe to say that you feel that matters of religious belief or religious teaching should not be taught in the science classroom as science.
That's correct. I don't have any objection, in literature classes and in religion and theology classes for any subject to be taught concerning the Holy Scriptures of Christianity and other religions, but I don't think there's a place for it in the science classroom.
And I've read much of what you've written, that was available to me about, your personal views on this matter. And can I just ask you to summarize quickly, you obviously are a man of very deep faith, of Christian faith. You've said in multiple times that you believe in the divine creator, and yet also you are a scientist who understands science, and you support evolution. Can you tell us, do you believe that God played a role as the creator? How would you characterize your beliefs as a theistic evolutionist, or how would you characterize them? Well,
to repeat myself, I would rather you're welcome to quote out of my book that I've written, but I don't really want to start analyzing that in any great detail, just in a brief telephone conversation.
I understand. There's one other thing I came across that I was hoping you can clarify for me, though. I did read that you left the Southern Baptist Convention, and I wanted to find out from you if that was true.
Yes, true.
And is it true, as I read, that was over their stance on the teaching of evolution? Is that correct?
No, it wasn't. It was on several other issues. Also, if you get a copy of the book I've written, in the same book describes my reasons for leaving the Southern Baptist Convention. It was their insistence that women be submissive to their husbands, that women would not be permitted to teach men, that women could not serve as pastors or chaplains or deacons, and they removed some certain phrases from their mandatory creed that I thought was very important concerning the Hebrew Scriptures being interpreted by the ministry of Jesus Christ. But that is covered much more thoroughly in my book, and it's the same book. So you need not go to the expense of buying more than one book.
That's great. You've been very generous with your time. We really appreciate it. If I could throw one more question at you. Your grandson Josh informs me that you recently have become an avid birder. Is that correct?
Yes. Well, I wouldn't say recently. I've been an active birder since 1988. And I remember that because we climbed Mount Kilimanjaro. We got to the top on the 8th day of the 8th month of 1988. And when we came down from the top of Mount Kilimanjaro, we went on some safaris, and primarily in Tanzania, and our guide was an expert ornithologist, and that's when my wife and I started birding.
That's great. Yeah, I mean, he brings it up because he knows from the show that I'm an active, birder as well. So it's something we should have in common.
Well, I didn't know that. But we've my wife and I have sighted a few more than 1,200 species of birds. We do that.
Wow.
When we have a time, on some of our foreign trips.
Yeah, that you keep a life list of the birds you've seen?
Yes, we do. I have a computer program that has all the world's birds on it, so I can kind of check them off when we see a new one.
You haven't seen the ivory-billed woodpecker, though, have you?
No, I haven't.
I'm sure we'll hear about it.
Not yet. If I see it, the world will know
Right,
it.
absolutely.
I hope I'm still living.
Yes.
But I had my hopes up a couple of years ago. I don't know. Don't feel quite as sure now as I did then.
Right. Well, President Carter, thank you very much for granting us this interview. We greatly appreciate it. It's been an honor.
Thank you.
I've enjoyed talking to you.
Thank you very much.